The silence that followed was complete. No one moved or spoke for nearly a min. Captain Monica Davis felt the eternal vigil respond to her thoughts as the massive dreadnought dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Around her, space was filled with the burning wreckage of what had once been Proxima Station. The Galactic Council's most important military base was gone, consumed by creatures that looked like nightmares made real. The Devourers had arrived 3 days ahead of schedule. Their bioships were even more horrifying than the Forerunner records had described. Each one was the size of a moon, covered in organic armor that pulsed with its own heartbeat. They moved through space like living things, flowing and twisting, in ways that violated physics. "Status report," Monica said. Her consciousness merged so completely with her ship that she barely remembered having a physical body. "Devourer fleet consists of approximately 12,000 bioships," the Eternal Vigil replied directly into her mind. "Galactic Council forces are in full retreat. Casualty estimates suggest 90% losses among Allied vessels." Monica felt sick. The alien fleets that had seemed so impressive just weeks ago were being slaughtered. Their weapons barely scratched the Devourer bioships. Their ships were too slow to escape and too weak to fight. "Any word from Admiral Lee?" "Admiral Christopher Lee is coordinating the human response from the Ancient Thunder. ETA for the main fleet is 6 minutes. Monica studied the battle through her ship's sensors. The Devourers were not just destroying the station. They were consuming it. Massive tentacles extended from their bioships, breaking apart metal and stone and drawing the material into their bodies. They were feeding. "All human vessels, this is Admiral Lee. Prepare for immediate engagement. Remember your training. Remember what the Forerunners died fighting. Today we finish what they started." The space around Proxima Station suddenly filled with new ships. Not the crude metal constructs the galaxy was used to, but sleek predators that moved like extensions of their pilot's will. 55,000. Human dreadnoughts emerged from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. Monica smiled as she felt the Ancient Thunder's presence in her mind. Admiral Lee was bonded to the fleet's command ship, a vessel so advanced it made other dreadnoughts look primitive. Through the neural network that connected all human pilots, she could feel his thoughts coordinating the entire fleet. Target: the lead bioships. Lee's mental voice reached every pilot simultaneously. "Use pattern Alpha 7. Show them what Earth's children can do." The human fleet moved as one organism. Thousands of ships turned toward the enemy with perfect precision, their weapons charged with energies that made stars look dim. For the first time in 50,000 years, Forerunner technology prepared for war against the creatures that had driven its builders from their homes. The Devourers reacted to the new arrivals with what might have been surprise. Their bioships stopped feeding and turned toward the human fleet. Organic weapons emerged from their hulls like flowers blooming in fast motion. Energy beams lanced out, weapons that had destroyed countless civilizations. The human ships did not even slow down. Forerunner shields absorbed the Devourer weapons and converted their energy into power for the human vessels. The bioships' most devastating attacks only made their enemies stronger. "All ships, weapons free," Admiral Lee commanded. Space erupted in light. The human dreadnoughts fired weapons that existed only in theory before the Forerunners built them. Quantum disruptors that unraveled matter at the subatomic level. Gravity cannons that created tiny black holes. Energy beams that burned hotter than the cores of stars. The Devourer bioships began to die. Monica watched through the Eternal Vigil's sensors as her weapons tore through enemy formations. Each shot from her main guns deleted chunks of bioship from existence. Secondary weapons carved through organic armor like it was paper. The creatures that had consumed galaxies screamed as they burned. But there were so many of them. "Monica, I need fire support on the cluster at coordinates 77 Alpha. Captain Tony Miller's voice reached her through the neural link. His ship, Titan's Wrath, was engaged with a group of particularly large bioships. "On my way," Monica replied, already turning her ship toward Tony's position. She arrived to find the Titan's Wrath surrounded by 6 Devourer bioships, each one trying to grab the human vessel with massive tentacles. Tony was fighting brilliantly, his ship dancing between the bioships' attacks while his weapons carved bloody trenches in their hulls. Monica opened fire on the nearest bioship. Her quantum disruptors punched through its organic armor and began unraveling its internal structure. The creature writhed in agony as sections of its body simply ceased to exist. "Thanks for the assist," Tony said as his ship escaped the bioship's trap. "These things are tougher than the simulations suggested." "But not tough enough," Monica replied, watching another bioship die under their combined fire. Across the battlefield, similar scenes played out thousands of times. Human dreadnoughts engaged Devourer bioships in single combat or small group actions. The humans were faster, more maneuverable, and far better armed. But the Devourers had numbers and size on their side. Admiral Lee coordinated the battle from his position at the center of the human formation. Through the neural network, he could see through every pilot's eyes, think with every ship's computer, fire every weapon in the fleet. He was no longer just human. He was something new, something the galaxy had never seen before. "Second wave incoming," he announced to the fleet. 15,000 more bioships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Monica felt her heart sink. They were winning the current battle, but barely. Another 15,000 enemies might be more than they could handle. "Admiral, this is the Galactic Council fleet." A new voice came over the communication channels. "We are moving to assist." Monica looked through her sensors and saw them coming. What was left of the alien fleets that had fled when the battle started. Altarian cruisers, Rethvar battleships, Silthek destroyers, and vessels from a dozen other species. They were damaged and outnumbered, but they were coming back to fight. "Council Fleet, this is Admiral Lee. Recommend you maintain distance and provide fire support. Your ships are not equipped for close combat with these enemies." "Understood, Admiral. We will do what we can." The alien ships opened fire on the Devourers from long range. Their weapons were primitive compared to human technology, but every shot helped. More importantly, their presence sent a message to the galaxy. All the civilized species were united against the ancient enemy. The battle raged for hours. Human dreadnoughts carved through Devourer formations while alien ships provided support fire. Bioships died by the hundreds, their organic hulls splitting, open to spill strange fluids into space. But for every Devourer destroyed, others took its place. "Admiral, I am reading massive energy signatures," Captain Linda Hayes reported from her ship, Starkiller. "Something big is coming." The space above the battlefield tore open like fabric being ripped apart. What emerged was beyond description. A Devourer bioship so large it dwarfed planets. Its body was covered in billions of smaller creatures, each on the size of a normal bioship. It was not just a ship. It was an entire civilization transformed into a weapon. "That must be their command vessel," Admiral Lee said, his mental voice tight with concern. "The hive mind's central node." The massive creature opened fire with weapons that made its smaller companions look harmless. Energy beams kilometers wide swept across space, destroying everything they touched. Several human dreadnoughts vanished. In the first volley, "All ships, concentrate fire on the command vessel," Lee ordered. "If we destroy it, the others might lose coordination." The entire human fleet turned toward the massive bioship. Thousands of weapons fired simultaneously, pouring more destructive energy into one target than most stars produced in a year. The creature's shields flared and buckled under the assault, but it was not enough. The command vessel was simply too large, too well protected. Human weapons carved wounds in its hull, but it had so much mass that even devastating damage barely slowed it down. "Admiral, I have an idea," Monica said through the neural link. "What if we do not try to destroy it? What if we go inside it?" Lee was quiet for a moment, processing the suggestion. Explain. The Forerunner records mention that Devourer bioships are hollow inside. They are basically giant organisms with internal spaces where they store consumed matter. If we can get inside the command vessel, we can attack its vital organs directly. That sounds incredibly dangerous. Everything we do today is dangerous, Monica replied. But this might be our only chance to end this. Lee considered the plan. Through the neural network, Monica could feel him running calculations, analyzing possibilities, weighing risks. Finally, he made his decision. All ships, this is Admiral Lee. We are going to attempt a boarding action on the command vessel. Volunteers only. This is likely a one-way mission. Every ship in the fleet volunteered. In the end, Lee selected a strike force of 500 dreadnoughts. They would punch through the command vessel's hull and fight their way to its central nervous system. If they could destroy that, the entire Devourer fleet might collapse. Monica was chosen to lead the assault. The Eternal Vigil had the most advanced sensors in the fleet, making it best suited for Na'vi. Admiral Paul Jackson stood in the war room deep under Earth's surface. The room had been built in secret 50 years ago. No alien knew it existed. On the walls, screens showed the positions of every human ship in the galaxy. Red lights marked colonies under threat. There were too many red lights. Report, Jackson said to the officers around the table. General Chris Murphy stepped forward. He was in charge of special operations. Sir, we have confirmed attacks on 7 human colonies in the past month. The aliens tried to hide them, but our deep cover agents got the truth. Jackson nodded. He had been expecting this day for years. While other humans believed in the peace treaty, Jackson knew better. He had been preparing for war in secret. Dr. Lisa Park entered the room carrying a data pad. She was the head of advanced weapons research. For 30 years, she had been working on projects the aliens thought were impossible. Admiral, Project Sleeping Giant is ready, she said. All ships, all weapons, all personnel. We can begin operations immediately. Jackson looked around the table at his best officers. These men and women had spent decades preparing for this moment. While the treaty limited what humans could build openly, it said nothing about secret projects. Show them, Jackson ordered. Dr. Park activated the wall screens. Images of massive shipyards appeared. They were hidden inside asteroids far from alien trade routes. Hundreds of ships filled the screens. These were not the small patrol vessels the aliens knew about. These were warships built for destruction. The aliens think we have 200 military ships, Dr. Park explained. The real number is 2,000. They think our biggest ship is a light cruiser. We have 12 dreadnoughts that could destroy entire fleets. Colonel Ryan Bell smiled. He commanded the 1st Strike Division. Ma'am, how did we hide all this? Easy, Dr. Park replied. We built everything in secret. The materials came from asteroid mining operations. The aliens thought we were just collecting rocks for building projects. They never imagined we were building a war fleet. Jackson walked to the main display. It showed the galaxy with human territory marked in blue. Alien space was much larger, marked in different colors for each race. For 300 years we followed their rules, Jackson said. We accepted small territory. We accepted limits on our military. We accepted being treated as children who needed protection. He turned to face his officers. The aliens made one mistake. They assumed we would always be weak. They forgot that humans are survivors. We have fought wars on Earth for thousands of years. We know how to fight. We know how to win. Captain Sam Lewis raised his hand. He commanded the UES Vengeance 1 of the secret dreadnoughts. Sir, what are our orders? Simple, Jackson replied. We show the galaxy that humans are not victims. We rescue our people. We punish those who attacked us. And we make sure this never happens again. Dr. Park brought up new images. These showed weapons the aliens had never seen. Admiral, our technology is 50 years ahead of anything the aliens have. The treaty forced us to be creative. We developed stealth systems, new armor, weapons that can punch through any shield. She pointed to one image. This is our neural link system. Our pilots can think at the speed of computers. No alien reflexes can match them. Jackson was proud of his people. The aliens thought the treaty held humans back. Instead, it made them stronger. Humans had learned to do more with less. They had become better warriors because they had to be. Dr. Park, how long until our ships are ready? All ships are fueled and armed, sir. Crews are boarding now. We can launch the first strikes in 6 hours. Jackson turned to Colonel Bell. Your target? Kepler Station, sir. It's a major Vorthan supply depot. Destroying it will send a clear message. Good. Take 12 ships. Make it fast and clean. No alien survivors to report back. Colonel Bell saluted and left to prepare his mission. Jackson looked at the remaining officers. The aliens think this will be easy. They believe their numbers and technology make them unbeatable. They are about to learn the most important lesson in human history. What's that, sir? Asked General Murphy. Never make an enemy of someone who has nothing left to lose. On the other side of Earth, Commander Nina Brooks was coordinating the largest evacuation in human history. Her job was to bring home every human from alien space before the war began. Nina stood in the evacuation command center. Hundreds of people worked at computer stations. Each station tracked human civilians in different parts of the galaxy. There were over 2 million humans living on alien worlds or working on alien ships. Status report? Nina called out. Ma'am, we have contact with 85% of our people, replied Lieutenant Dan Cole. Most are ready to come home immediately, but some don't believe the danger is real. Nina understood. Many humans had lived their whole lives in alien space. They had alien friends and alien business partners. It was hard to believe that peaceful neighbors could become deadly enemies overnight. Send them the footage from New Dakota, Nina ordered. Show them what happened to Dr. Phillips and her people. That should convince them. The main screen showed a map of human evacuations. Green dots showed successful pickups. Yellow dots showed people still waiting for rescue. Red dots showed people who refused to leave. Commander, we have a problem, said Captain Tony Martinez. He ran security for the evacuation. The Zephyrian Trade Consortium is demanding payment for transport services. They want to charge us for rescuing our own people. Nina felt anger rise in her chest. The Zephyrians had pretended to be friends of humanity for years. Now they wanted to profit from human suffering. What's their price? She asked. 50 million credits per ship. And they want exclusive trading rights to 3 human colonies. Nina laughed, but there was no humor in it. Tell them humans don't negotiate with thieves. We'll rescue our people. Ourselves? Captain Martinez looked worried. Ma'am, our evacuation ships are not armed. If the aliens decide to stop us... They won't, Nina said confidently. Not yet. They still think we're weak. They want to watch us run away in fear. That gives us time to get our people home. The truth was more complicated. Nina knew the aliens were letting humans evacuate because they wanted to study human reactions. They thought humans would panic and beg for mercy. They had no idea that every evacuation ship was reporting alien military positions back to Admiral Jackson. 3 hours later, President Karen White sat in the Oval Office preparing for the most important speech of her life. In 1 hour, she would address not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. Every alien government would be watching. Her speechwriters had prepared careful words about peace and negotiation. Karen threw their draft in the trash. This was not a time for careful words. This was a time for truth. Karen walked to her desk and began writing by hand. She wrote about the families killed on New Dakota. She wrote about the colonies destroyed in secret. She wrote about 300 years of being treated as second-class citizens in their own galaxy. When she finished, Karen looked at her words. They were simple and direct. No fancy language. No diplomatic double talk. Just the truth about what aliens had done to humans and what humans planned to do about it. Her chief of staff entered the office. "Madam President, the Zephyrian ambassador is requesting an emergency meeting. He says his government wants to offer humanity protection." Karen smiled coldly. "Tell the ambassador that humanity protects itself now. We don't need alien charity." "Ma'am, he's offering very generous terms. Full protection, expanded territory, advanced technology." "At what price?" "Well, humanity would become a Zephyrian client state. They would handle our foreign policy and military affairs. In exchange, we would get safety and prosperity." Karen stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the lights of Washington, D.C. This city had been the center of human government for hundreds of years. Presidents before her had made hard choices to protect freedom and democracy. "Tell the ambassador that I have a counteroffer," Karen said. "The Zephyrians can choose to stay neutral in this war, or they can choose sides. But if they choose sides against humanity, they will regret it." Her chief of staff looked shocked. "Madam President, we can't threaten the Zephyrians. They have one of the largest fleets in the galaxy." Karen turned back to her desk. "They had the largest fleet in the galaxy. Past tense. By tomorrow, that might not be true anymore." As night fell on Earth, humans across the galaxy prepared for war. Admiral Jackson's secret fleets moved into position. Commander Brooks's evacuation ships raced to collect human civilians. President White prepared to tell the galaxy that humanity would fight back. The aliens had broken their promise of protection. They had chosen to see humans as enemies instead of friends. Now they would learn what it meant to have humanity as an enemy. The peace treaty was dead. The war was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The alien troop ships began their descent toward Earth. There were 50 of them, each one carrying 1,000 soldiers. They moved in perfect formation through the atmosphere. Admiral Vextar watched from his flagship as the ships approached the surface. "Standard occupation protocol," he told his commanders. "Secure the major population centers. Round up the survivors. Begin the resource extraction immediately." Each troop ship was the size of a football stadium. They had thick armor and powerful shields. The aliens inside wore battle suits that could stop bullets and energy weapons. They carried rifles that could cut through steel. They had conquered worlds with these same tools and tactics. Colonel Steve Turner watched the alien ships from his hidden bunker in the ruins of New York. The bunker was built under the subway system, deeper than any alien scanner could reach. Steve had been a Marine for 20 years. He had fought in wars around the world, but this was different. This was about the survival of his entire species. "All teams, this is command," he spoke into his radio. "Enemy is landing in all major cities. Wait for my signal. Do not engage until the trap is ready." Around the world, similar scenes played out. In London, Captain Helen Moore waited with her team under the destroyed Parliament building. In Tokyo, Major Rick Thompson crouched in tunnels beneath the Imperial Palace. Every major city had its own resistance force waiting in the ruins. The alien soldiers poured out of their ships like a silver flood. They wore helmets that covered their entire heads. Their weapons glowed with blue energy. They moved in groups of 10, spreading out through the empty streets. "Sector 7 clear," reported one alien squad leader. "No survivors detected." "Sector 12 clear," said another. "Buildings are completely destroyed." This was exactly what the aliens expected. Every world they conquered looked the same after the bombardment. Empty streets, broken buildings, scattered groups of terrified survivors hiding in basements and ruins. But Earth was different. The humans had planned for this moment. Every piece of rubble had been placed carefully. Every destroyed building had hidden rooms underneath. Every pile of concrete and steel was actually a carefully built fortress. Captain Amy Rodriguez's ship drifted through space near the edge of the solar system. She had been broadcasting surrender messages for 2 hours. Her ship's engines were shut down. Her weapons were powered off. To the aliens, she looked like a frightened refugee trying to escape. "Human vessel," came a message from the alien fleet. "Maintain your position. Do not attempt to flee, or you will be destroyed." "Please," Amy replied, putting fear in her voice. "We just want to live. We have families on board, children. Please let us go." The aliens did not respond. They never let anyone go. But they enjoyed making their victims hope. It made the final moment more satisfying when they crushed that hope completely. What the aliens did not know was that Amy's ship was not alone. Scattered throughout the solar system were 47 other ships. Each one looked like civilian, cargo vessels, or damaged warships. Each one was actually a hunter-killer, loaded with weapons the aliens had never seen before. Dr. Sarah Martinez worked frantically in her laboratory deep under the Swiss Alps. She had been awake for 36 hours straight. Coffee cups and energy drink cans covered her desk. Computer screens surrounded her on all sides. "Kevin, how much longer?" she asked through her headset. 2 hours, Kevin Park replied from his command center in Colorado. "The alien technology needs time to fully integrate with our systems." Sarah nodded and went back to her work. She was connecting human computers to alien power cores. It should have been impossible. The alien technology was thousands of years more advanced than anything humans had built. But humans had one advantage the aliens did not expect. Humans were creative. They could make things work even when they should not work. They could find solutions that made no logical sense. They could adapt and improvise in ways that confused their enemies. "Sarah," came another voice through her headset. "This is command. The orbital platforms are responding. All 600 are coming online." Sarah felt a rush of excitement. For 5 years she had worked on this project, taking broken pieces of alien technology and turning them into weapons, making human computers talk to alien machines, building a defense network that the aliens could not see or understand. The orbital platforms looked like space junk to alien sensors. Old satellite, parts, broken rocket boosters, pieces of destroyed space stations. But inside each piece of junk was a quantum fusion reactor and a directed energy weapon system. On the alien flagship, Commander Zelth reviewed the tactical reports. "All landing zones are secure, Admiral. No organized resistance detected. The humans appear to be hiding in small groups throughout the ruins." "As expected," Admiral Vextar said. "Begin Phase 2. Establish communication networks. Start the mining operations. This world has good mineral resources." The Admiral walked to the main view screen. Earth hung below them like a blue and white marble. It looked peaceful now. The fires from the bombardment were going out. Soon, it would be just another conquered world in the Empire's collection. "Sir," said the sensor operator, "I am detecting some unusual energy readings from the planet's surface." "What kind of readings?" "Unknown. The signatures do not match any known human technology. They appear to be coming from underground installations." Admiral Vextar frowned. This was not normal. Most species had very simple underground facilities, storage areas, shelters, nothing that should produce energy signatures. "Scan deeper," he ordered, but the alien sensors could not penetrate the carefully designed shields that protected the human bunkers. The energy readings they detected were decoys, fake signals designed to make them look in the wrong places. Underground in Colorado, Jake Morrison watched his tactical display. Red dots showed the positions of all 50 alien troop ships. Blue dots marked the hidden human forces surrounding each landing site. Green lines connected the orbital weapons platforms that were now fully charged and ready. "Lisa, give me a count on our people," he said. 47 ships ready in space, 600 orbital platforms armed and targeted, underground forces in position at all 50 landing sites, total personnel, 100,000 fighters ready for combat." Jake nodded. 100,000 people against an alien fleet that had conquered 47 worlds. It should have been suicide, but these 100,000 people had trained for this moment their entire lives. They knew alien tactics. They had alien weapons. They had something the aliens did not expect. They had rage. "Open a channel to all forces," Jake ordered. "All teams, this is command. The aliens think they have won. They think we are broken. They think Earth belongs to them. It is time to show them the truth about humanity." Around the world, human fighters checked their weapons one last time. In the ruins of New York, Colonel Steve Turner looked at his watch. In London, Captain Helen Moore whispered a prayer. In Tokyo, Major Rick Thompson took a deep breath. They were about to start the largest coordinated attack in human history, not just on Earth, but throughout the entire solar system. The aliens had walked into a trap that had taken 5 years to prepare. Captain Danny Wright floated in his command chair aboard the hidden lunar base. For 3 years, he had been building weapons in the tunnels beneath the moon's surface. Mass. Drivers that could throw projectiles at near-light speed. Missile batteries loaded with nuclear warheads. Laser arrays that could cut through alien ship armor. "Danny, this is command." Jake's voice came through the communication system. "Execute Protocol 7. All weapons free." Danny smiled. Protocol 7 was the code name for total war. No mercy, no prisoners, no surrender. "Roger, command. Luna Base is going hot." The surface of the moon erupted in light as hidden weapon ports opened all along the Terminator line. What had looked like natural craters were actually concealed launch sites. What had seemed like normal moon rocks were actually the barrels of the largest guns ever built. Admiral Vextar was about to learn why humans called their home planet Earth. It was not because of the dirt and stone. It was because they would fight like animals when cornered. They would use every trick, every weapon, every advantage they could find. The aliens had never fought a species that could lie as well as humans. They had never faced an enemy that could hide an entire civilization underground. They had never encountered a race that could turn their own technology against them. The war was about to begin, and the aliens had no idea what was coming. The Aquilan Federation followed 6 hours later. Admiral Zach Knorr had been preparing his people for this Dex 6 months after the treaty died. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Liberation, humanity's new flagship. Through the main window, he could see the rebuilt colony of New Dakota. Green fields covered the land where death had once ruled. Children played in gardens that had been burned to ash. "Sir, we're receiving the surrender documents from the last Vorthan outpost," reported Communications Officer Lisa Chang. "That makes it official. The war is over." Jake nodded, but felt no joy. Victory had come at a terrible price. Millions were dead on both sides. Entire worlds had been destroyed. The galaxy would never be the same. "Signal Admiral Jackson," Jake ordered. "Tell him the final Vorthan forces have laid down their arms." The war had ended not with a great battle, but with exhaustion. The Vorthan Empire had simply run out of ships and soldiers. Their colonies had surrendered one by one as human forces proved they could not be stopped. The proud race that had ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years was broken. Admiral Paul Jackson stood in the same war room where he had planned humanity's first strikes. But now, the screens showed a very different galaxy. Green lights marked human-controlled systems. Blue lights showed Allied territories. The red lights that had once marked enemy positions were mostly gone. "Report," Jackson said to his assembled officers. General Chris Murphy stepped forward. "Sir, we control 47 star systems that used to belong to the Vorthan Empire. The Ketran hegemony has been reduced to their home system and 3 colony worlds. Most other species have joined the new alliance." Jackson looked at the star map with mixed feelings. Humanity had won the war, but the price had been enormous. Both sides had lost millions of people. Entire civilizations had been shattered. What about reconstruction efforts? Jackson asked. Dr. Lisa Park answered from her seat at the table. The Genesis project is ahead of schedule. We've restored atmosphere to 12 worlds that were damaged in the fighting. Refugee populations are being relocated to new homes. Jackson was proud of his people. Even in victory, humans had chosen to heal rather than destroy. The same technology that could have wiped out alien worlds was being used to create new ones for displaced populations. Sir, Colonel Ryan Bell said quietly, we need to discuss the Vorthan leadership. What do we do with the war criminals? Jackson had been dreading this decision. Hundreds of alien officers had been captured during the war. Many had committed terrible crimes against human civilians. Military justice demanded punishment, but political wisdom suggested mercy. They will face trial, Jackson decided. But the trials will be fair and open. We will prove that humans fight with honor, even when our enemies do not. President Karen White sat in the rebuilt UN headquarters in Geneva, preparing to sign the most important document in galactic history. Representatives from 43 species had gathered to create a new government for the galaxy. The old Galactic Council was dead. In its place would rise the Galactic Federation, based on principles of equality and democracy. No species would rule over another. No race would be treated as inferior. Madam President, said Secretary of State David Clark, the Aquilan delegation is requesting private talks about trade agreements. Karen smiled. The Aquilans had been humanity's first allies in the war. Admiral Zach Noor had risked everything to stand with humans when it mattered most. Now his people would be rewarded with preferential trade status. Schedule the meeting for tomorrow, Karen replied. But first, I want to address the full assembly. She walked to the podium where representatives from across the galaxy waited. Some looked hopeful, others seemed fearful. All understood that this moment would define the future of galactic civilization. 6 months ago, the galaxy was ruled by fear, Karen began. The strong dominated the weak, the old oppressed the young. Species with advanced technology used it to control those with less. She looked directly at the former Vorthan delegates. They sat with their heads down, their empire in ruins. But strength built on oppression is not really strength at all. It is weakness disguised as power. True strength comes from cooperation, not domination. Images appeared on the chambers. Screens showing the rebuilt worlds, former Vorthan colonies where humans and aliens worked together to create new societies. Ketran refugees building homes on human worlds. Aquilan children learning in human schools. This is the future we offer you, Karen continued. Not rule by the strongest, but partnership among equals. Not exploitation of the weak, but protection for all. Not the law of the jungle, but the rule of justice. The Crystalline Collective's representative raised a crystalline appendage. President White, what guarantees do we have that humanity will not become the new oppressor? Your military power exceeds that of all other species combined. Karen had expected this question. It was the fear that haunted every species in the galaxy. Humans had proven they could defeat anyone. What would stop them from becoming tyrants? The same thing that stopped us from becoming conquerors when we had the chance, Karen replied. Our values. We could have enslaved your worlds when we defeated your fleets. We could have taken your resources when we captured your colonies. Instead, we chose to rebuild and heal. She gestured to the diverse assembly around her. Look around. This room. Former enemies sit as equals with former allies. Species that tried to destroy us now help write the laws that will govern us all. This is not the action of conquerors. This is the choice of liberators. The vote to establish the Galactic Federation was unanimous. Even the Vorthan delegates, representing a broken empire, chose to join rather than remain isolated. Commander Nina Brooks now held the title of Director of Colonial Integration. Her job was to help former enemy populations adapt to life under the new government. It was challenging work, but also rewarding. She stood in the main square of New Vorthok, a former enemy colony that had requested to join the Terran Federation. Around her, Vorthon civilians waited nervously for her speech. Many had believed human propaganda about humans being violent monsters. Meeting actual humans had been a shock. "Citizens of New Vorthok," Nina began in fluent Vorthon. 3 months ago, we were enemies. Your government told you that humans were dangerous barbarians who would enslave or kill you. Our government told us that you were cruel oppressors who wanted to destroy us. She smiled warmly at the crowd. We were both wrong. You are not monsters. We are not monsters. We are simply different species trying to survive in a difficult galaxy. A young Vorthon child raised her hand. Director Brooks, why didn't you hurt us when you won the war? Nina knelt down to the child's level. Because hurting you would not bring back the humans who died. Because making you suffer would not heal our pain. Because the best way to honor our dead is to build a better future for the living. The crowd's fear began to fade as they realized Nina spoke with genuine compassion. These were not the savage conquerors their propaganda had described. These were people who had chosen mercy over revenge. Captain Tony Martinez walked through the corridors of the former Vorthon Imperial Palace, now serving as a refugee center for displaced populations. The building that had once housed the galaxy's most powerful ruler now provided shelter for those made homeless by war. In what used to be the throne room, human doctors worked alongside alien medics to treat war wounded from all species. Vorthan children played with human toys, while their parents learned new skills for rebuilding their lives. Captain, called Dr. Kate Phillips, the survivor from New Dakota who had become a symbol of human resilience. The former emperor wants to speak with you. Martinez found the former Vorthon emperor, Kex Vorth, working in the refugee center's kitchen. The being who had once commanded fleets now served soup to homeless families. It was perhaps the most complete reversal of fortune in galactic history. Captain Martinez, Kex Vorth said without looking up from his work. I have a request. What is it? I want to testify at the war crimes trials. Not as a defendant, but as a witness. I want to tell the galaxy the truth about what my government did. Martinez was surprised. Why would you do that? It could make your sentence much worse. Kex Vorth finally looked up, his alien features showing deep sadness. Because someone must speak for the victims. Because silence makes us all guilty. Because the only way to prevent future wars is to face the truth about this one. Dr. Lisa Park stood in her new laboratory on the rebuilt colony of New Dakota. Around her, scientists from 12 different species worked together on projects that would have been impossible under the old system. Vorthan engineering combined with human innovation. Aquilon biotechnology merged with crystalline computing power. Dr. Park called out her research partner, Dr. Velcara, the Aquilon scientist who had defected during the war. The atmospheric processor is working perfectly. We can complete the terraforming of Kepler 442b in just 18 months. Lisa smiled. Kepler 442b had been a Vorthon military base that was destroyed during the war. Now it would become a garden world for refugees from both sides. Former enemies would build new lives together among the flowers and forests. Excellent work, Lisa replied. How many more worlds are on the list? 47 dead worlds that can be restored, 12 damaged colonies that need repair, and 6 completely end. The massive alien ship moved through space like a dark mountain. It was bigger than any city on Earth. Behind it, hundreds more ships followed in perfect lines. They all had the same blue glow coming from their engines. The alien fleet had been traveling for months to reach this small blue planet. Admiral Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship. He was tall and thin, with gray skin that looked like stone. His 4 eyes never blinked as he watched the screens showing Earth. This was his job. He had done it many times before. 47 different worlds had fallen to his fleet. Earth would be number 48. "Show me their defenses," he said to his crew. The main screen lit up with information about Earth. Red dots showed where the humans had their military bases. Yellow lines traced their communication networks. Green markers pointed to their largest cities. "Primitive," said Commander Zelth, his second in command. "They still use chemical rockets. Their weapons cannot even reach space properly." Vextar nodded. This was what he expected. Every species they had conquered was the same. They built their cities on the surface. They fought wars with metal bullets and explosive devices. They never saw the attack coming until it was too late. "How many humans live on this world?" he asked. 8 billion, Admiral. They are spread across 7 large land masses. Most live in crowded cities near water. "Good. We will destroy the 3 largest cities first. The rest will surrender quickly after that." Far below on Earth, Captain Jake Morrison sat in a different kind of room. This room was buried 3 miles under a mountain in Colorado. Thick, metal walls surrounded him on all sides. The air came through filters. The lights never went out. Jake was 42 years old. He had been a test pilot before this job. He had flown faster than sound many times. He had gone to space twice. But now he sat in front of computer screens and waited. "Jake, they are here," said Lisa Hayes. She sat at the station next to him. Her fingers moved quickly over her keyboard. Numbers and pictures filled her screens. "How many ships?" Jake asked. 312, just like we thought." Jake felt his heart beat faster. 5 years ago, they had found the alien scout ship floating dead in space near Pluto. It had taken 2 years to bring it back to Earth in secret. 3 more years to figure out how it worked. Now the aliens had come for their missing ship. "Are the people ready?" he asked. Lisa checked another screen. "All major cities are empty. Everyone is in the bunkers. They think it is just another drill." Jake nodded. The government had been running emergency drills for months. They told people it was for earthquakes or storms. The people went to the underground shelters and waited. Then they came back up when the drill was over. But this time would be different. Dr. Kevin Park walked into the command room. He carried a metal case in his hands. Kevin was the smartest person Jake had ever met. He could make alien technology work with human tools. He could solve problems that made other scientists give up. "The weapons are ready," Kevin said. "All 600 platforms are charged and waiting." "They still cannot see them?" Jake asked. "No. Our satellites look like space junk to their sensors. Old rocket parts and broken communications equipment. They see what we want them to see." Jake smiled for the first time in days. Humans were good at lying. They were good at hiding. They were good at making their enemies think they were weak when they were really strong. Above them, the alien fleet moved into attack position. The ships formed a perfect circle around Earth. Each ship was pointed down at the planet like a gun. They had done this same formation hundreds of times before. Admiral Vextar looked at the tactical display. "Begin the demonstration. Destroy their largest city first." On Earth, the city was New York. But the humans who lived there were not in their homes or offices. They were deep underground in bunkers that the aliens could not see. The buildings above were empty shells waiting to die. The first beam of energy came down from space. It was brighter than the sun. It turned the air into fire. When it hit the ground, the explosion could be seen from other countries. In seconds, the entire city was gone. Only smoke and ash remained. "Excellent," said Commander Zelth. "Should we contact them now?" "Not yet. Destroy 2 more cities. Then they will be ready to listen. London died next, then Tokyo. 3 of Earth's greatest cities became craters of melted rock and twisted metal. The alien ships recorded everything. They sent the videos to their home worlds as proof of another easy victory. But in the bunkers under Colorado, Jake Morrison was not afraid. He was angry. The aliens thought they were killing millions of people. They enjoyed the destruction. They celebrated the death. "Phase 1 complete," Lisa reported. All evacuation sites are secure. 0 casualties. Jake picked up his communication device. This message would go to every bunker on Earth, to every hidden base, to every human who was waiting for the signal. This is command. The enemy thinks we are dead. They think we are broken. They think Earth is theirs. He paused and looked at the screens showing the burning cities. They are wrong. Begin phase 2. All around the world, hidden doors began to open. Underground factories started their machines. Weapons that had been sleeping in space for 5 years woke up and began to charge their power cells. The aliens had made one mistake. They thought humans were like every other species they had conquered. They thought humans would fight with the weapons they could see. They never imagined that humans could hide. They never imagined that humans could lie. They never imagined that humans could take alien technology and make it better. Captain Amy Rodriguez sat in her ship far from Earth. Her vessel looked like an old cargo freighter. The aliens would see it on their screens and think it was trying to run away. They would not know that it carried the most powerful weapons humans had ever built. "Amy, this is command," Jake's voice came through her radio. "You are clear to begin. Transmission." Amy smiled. She had practiced this speech for months. She had to sound afraid. She had to sound desperate. She had to make the aliens believe that Earth was beaten. "Alien ships," she said, making her voice shake. "Please do not destroy us. We surrender. We will do whatever you want. Please show mercy to the survivors." On the alien flagship, Admiral Vextar received the message. This was the part he enjoyed most. The moment when the enemy realized they had lost. The moment when they begged for their lives. "Prepare the landing forces," he ordered. "Send down the occupation troops. This world is ours." But Jake Morrison had other plans. He looked at Kevin Park and nodded. "Begin the real war." Kevin opened his metal case. Inside was a single red button. When he pressed it, everything would change. The aliens thought they had won. They were about to learn what humans really were. The Zephyrian Empire had ruled space for 3,000 years. They had destroyed 47 civilizations. They had never lost a battle. They thought they were the strongest force in the galaxy. They had never fought humans before. Kevin pressed the button. In space around Earth, 600 sleeping weapons opened their eyes. Major Kate Lewis returned from the surface of Kepler 442 with the rescued Andorian leaders. They were elderly beings who had been slaves for most of their lives, but their eyes burned with the fire of people who had never forgotten their dignity. "Admiral Morrison," said their spokesman, "our people wish to join your cause. We want to help free the other worlds." Jake smiled. This was what he had hoped for. Not just liberation, but transformation. The former slaves becoming liberators themselves. "Welcome to the fight," he said. "Together we will set every sky ablaze until freedom shines in every corner of the galaxy." The Zephyrian Empire had ruled for 3,000 years through fear and overwhelming force. But they had never faced an enemy like humanity. An